possible that you don't know that? How can you be that ill-informed to ask me a question like that? Let me repeat. All right. So Democrat MAGA, we're talking about obviously this horrible situation.
And he's sober. That's good.
So Democrat MAGA, we're talking about this horrible situation of this school shooting that took place in Minneapolis where children have lost their lives. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes. Okay. So my thoughts are actually, I am 100% anti-gun. I don't own a gun. No guns are allowed in the house, period. But my question to you guys is, during Biden's presidency, he owned the House, the Senate, and a liberal Supreme Court.
Sure.
As did one of Obama's terms.
Yep.
So what did they do?
Sure, I'll answer that. I'll answer that, and I will answer that. I will answer that. Joe Biden had the most bipartisan gun legislation in decades. How is it possible that you don't know that? How can you be that ill-informed to ask me a question like that? Let me repeat. He had the most gun legislation, bipartisan, in decades put on the books. He did everything he could.
Weapons ban?
He couldn't do it. Do you know why?
He banned certain weapons, certain things he did ban.
I'm going to lose it. This guy. Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
I'm just asking.
I know you're.
Somehow got through the assault.
I don't understand how you don't know this. If you don't follow the news and you're living under a rock or you watch Newsmax, I don't understand how you don't know this. He had the most bipartisan gun legislation in decades. He couldn't put on a full what you're talking about when it comes to assault weapons ban because the Republicans wouldn't allow it to go through.
How could they not allow it if you have the Senate and the House?
Hold on a second. You
would win every vote.
Hold on a second, MAGA. Hold on 1 second. So during the Biden presidency, you could not purchase a silencer without being cleared by the ATF, and you had to pay $200 for a tax stamp. In that same time period, you could not buy a short-barreled rifle like an AR-15 pistol without having a background check by the ATF with fingerprints and paying it for a $200 stamp. During that same time, he tried to ban magazines that had a capacity over 10 rounds.
Correct.
And you know who stopped it? You know who stopped that from going through? The Republicans, led by the MAGA. So you should be factually accurate when you call. He did have legislation that was pushed through and successful.
But if you bring anything like Trump does now, how does it get not voted through if you own the House and the Senate? It will pass. Anything you put will pass.
He doesn't understand how you put a bill together in the first place. Joe Biden every single day talked about how he wanted to ban assault weapons, and he needed a bipartisan. He needed enough votes to do so. I would also say, what are your solutions?
Can I give him a quick?
Democrats didn't vote for it.
Can I give you a quick example? If you're in a committee and you have legislation, and you have a majority by one of Democrats and Republicans, if for some reason that legislation doesn't pass out of committee, it doesn't even go to the floor for discussion. Do you understand that?
But why, if every Democrat would show up and vote?
So you're saying that everybody had to vote along party lines on every bill. And remember, Republicans parked things that were not relevant, like taxes and other types of things, legislation they wanted passed. What they would do is they would park that legislation in a bill or amend the bill on gun control so that it had more items in it that benefited the Republicans. You understand how that's done? A Democrat
could bring a bill to the House with their own, however they want to word it, bring a bill and have it voted on.
And they did, and they passed bipartisan, but they were taking what they could get because the lobbyists from the NRA were hitting up everybody and threatening to primary Democrats to go into their districts and run Republicans against them, to stop giving them money. So it's not as simple as we have the majority, we can pass legislation. It's not that simple.
Were there Democrats that voted no against any of Biden's gun policies?
Are you talking about a clean gun bill? Or are you talking about a bill that has amendments from the Republicans? Because before a bill goes to the floor, they have the opportunity to put amendments. And if you put BS amendments in there that the Democrats don't want, they're not going to pass the bill. You have to understand, this is a complex process. This is not black and white, A and B. We have the majority. Let's pass everything we want to pass. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but I guess if that was a super priority, I guess you would take a little bit of a loss on another end in order to get the win on the gun. So there must have been some Democrats that didn't vote.
Not true. Not true. There were amendments.
He didn't go on the. Sorry to interrupt you, Brian. Right. Biden did not go on the news after the shooting at the school and say thoughts and prayers. And he said all that. But what he said is, folks, we got to get serious. We got to get serious about legislation. We got to put a stop to this. We have to address gun violence. It was number 2 or 3 in his priorities. And at that time, it was the number 1 priority. I think you're not informed.
Okay. Let me ask MAGA. I'm not going to call you Democrat MAGA because I don't think you're a Democrat. So let me ask you, MAGA, can you name me one thing that Republicans have done in the last 25 years that you think have reduced the gun violence in this country?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm with you on that.
Okay. So we agree.
You're right.
So we agree that Republicans have done nothing. In fact, they've made it, would you agree, they've made it more dangerous, and the crime with guns have been worse because they make it easier to give people access to guns. Would you agree with that?
I guess, but there are how come certain states with the strictest gun laws still have the most gun shootings?
That's not necessarily true. It happens.
Well, New York and Chicago have strict gun laws, more so than I would say.
Okay, that's not accurate, because what you're talking about is there are big cities like Chicago who are in the millions. They have millions of people, and of course they're going to have more shootings because they have millions of people. Per capita, though? They are not number 1 per capita. Number 1 per capita, I believe, is Alabama or Louisiana. I'm not sure.
All right, so why do you call yourself MAGA then when you openly admit that Republicans have literally done nothing to address the second leading cause of death in children? Why would you call yourself a MAGA then?
Well, here's the thing: Democratic MAGA. So I am the 80% of the country.
What?
10% are wacko left. 10% are wacko right. The rest of the country's right in the middle, like me.
I disagree.
I can see the gun side.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That is so not accurate what you are saying. 10% or this way, 10% or the other way. Almost every single Republican, let me repeat, almost every single Republican in office does nothing when it comes to this issue. And the overwhelming majority of Republicans are okay with that. Overwhelming. I don't see Republicans out there shouting after a mass shooting, Republicans, please do something about gun control. It's always the Democrats. You're wrong. Look at the Republican National Convention.
Wouldn't it be the exact same thing you said, that you said the Democrats would be worried about being primary, worried about money against them? It's the same thing on the other side.
With what? With what issue? With what issue? Tell me.
What I said
no, it's not an issue on the
with
other
what
side.
issue? Hold on. With what issue? With what issue are Democrats doing that with? Give me the issue.
Well, I said on the guns, and you said they wouldn't vote 100% party lines because they.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Have you ever seen a Democrat in office that bragged about their A+ rating from the NRA? Have you ever seen that?
I was talking about how a bill gets passed.
Democrat MAGA or MAGA. Have you ever seen a Democrat campaign off of their NRA rating? Name me one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course you don't know, because there aren't any. So don't you give me this crap that Democrats do.
I don't know every statistic of it.
No, you don't.
Then you shouldn't come on and talk about statistics.
I don't think you know any statistic, okay? You don't know any statistic. 10% 10% of the left and 10% of the right, and everybody else agrees with. No, they don't.
That's not true.
No, they don't. Stop it. You're stop it. Don't call yourself a Democrat. I'm going to call you MAGA moron, okay? Call in as MAGA moron, and then you're welcome to call back in.